Hey, hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. Before I begin, I would like to wish you all a very happy new year. This is my first YouTube video of the year, and even though I am not live, I know that a lot of you would watch this video, and I am wishing you a very prosperous new year. Today, we're going to be talking about the 7 worst fatty liver advice told that even your doctor may still believe up to this day. Okay, so before I go straight into the video, I just want to let you know that I would never call you to inform you about my live sessions. If anyone calls you saying that they are from me and they would like to send you a code, you should read out the code to them. Please do not listen to them. They're trying to hack into your WhatsApp accounts. Okay, so I work alone and I would never call you to inform you about my sessions. All of the information that I want you to know would be passed on the WhatsApp group and also via email. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into the video. So today we're going to talk about some of the worst fatty liver advice told, but we have to have an understanding of what fatty liver disease is. Okay, now fatty liver disease is a condition where your liver is overloaded with toxins. Okay, now we have alcoholic fatty liver disease, which takes up about 10 to 25% and is very easy to reverse. So if you stop consuming alcohol, then you can fix it. You can fix an alcoholic fatty liver. But there is non-alcoholic fatty liver, which takes up 75 to 90% of fatty liver disease cases today. Okay, and that is fatty liver that is due to high levels of fructose and insulin resistance. Now, in small amounts, this can do no harm to your liver, okay? But in very high amounts, it can do great harm to your liver that is only 3 pounds, okay? Your liver is the only thing that can process alcohol. It is the only thing that can process fructose, and your liver is the most damaged when you have high levels of insulin resistance, okay? So in order to reverse a fatty liver, you have to undo the vicious cycle between insulin resistance and fatty liver, because insulin resistance causes a fatty liver, and a fatty liver can make your insulin resistance worse because your liver is not able to control your insulin. Okay, so the first lie that we have been told is that if you have a fatty liver, you should eat smaller meals. Okay, let's say eat smaller meals about 5 times a day. Now, the reason that is bad advice is that every time that you eat, especially carbohydrate foods, you raise your insulin. And insulin is a hormone that makes you store fats, okay? You cannot burn fat when insulin is high, okay? So you would never be able to burn fat off your liver if you always have a high insulin. And each time that you eat, you raise your insulin. So if you want to burn the fat off your liver, you have to give a lot of space between your meals. You taking in smaller meals frequently does not burn fat off your liver, because each time that you eat, you raise your insulin, which makes it impossible for your liver to burn off the fats. Okay. Now, the second lie we've been told is that if you have a fatty liver, you should eat foods that are low in fats and eat foods that are high in carbohydrates. Now, it makes sense to say that if you want to burn fats in your liver, you should cut down fats. But it is outdated and it shows a lack of common biochemistry and a physiological sense of how your body operates if you say that in order to burn the fats in your liver, you have to cut down fats, because your dietary fat does not equate the fats. The fat that you eat doesn't just attach itself to your liver. Okay. You eating fat doesn't make you fat. What makes you fat is the carbohydrate foods, the high carbohydrate foods and sugary foods that you are eating. Because when you consume foods that are high in carb and high in sugar, then your body would have to store the excess. Your body's most preferred source of fuel is fat. But if it's not getting fat, it has to use glucose, and it's not all of the glucose that you consume that your body has to make use of. So your body has to store this glucose as something. So it stores it as fat. Before your body makes use of glucose, your body would have made use of the fat. So whatever little piece of chicken or fish or meat that you would have eaten, your body would first of all make use of that before it then makes use of the rice and the eba that you are consuming. Okay, and your body has to store the rest as something, so it stores it as fat. Okay, now cows eat what they are supposed to eat, which is grass, and they grow fat. Human beings should eat what they are supposed to eat, which is fatty foods and protein, and also very little carbohydrates to make them healthy. Okay, so the idea of eating low fat is the idea of eating low fat to burn off fat in your liver doesn't make sense. Okay, you have to reduce your carbohydrates so that your body doesn't store excess carbohydrates as fat around your liver. And when you fast, you can then give your body the opportunity to make use of its storage system. Okay. Now, high carbohydrate foods also include processed foods and whole grain foods that are very starchy. Okay. Now, the third lie we have been told is that you should avoid saturated fats. Now, saturated fat is not the only food, it's not the only healthy food that you can eat, but I don't want you to be afraid of saturated fats because there's nothing to be afraid of when it comes to saturated fat. Saturated fat is one of the healthiest foods that you can eat. We have this preconceived notion that saturated fat is what is going to increase our cholesterol, right? And so we avoid it and then we go for other things like vegetable oil. Okay, and I have spoken about vegetable oil before. Vegetables have no oil. In order to derive oil from a plant, you have to destroy the molecular structure of that plant in order to get that oil. So a lot of things go on in order to produce things like corn oil and canola oil and sunflower oil and groundnut oil. Okay, so it has a very high omega-6 to 3 ratio, which is not healthy for your heart. It's very pro-inflammatory. It damages your organs. It damages your blood vessels. It is highly oxidized, so it makes you more likely to have hypertension. And in order to produce this vegetable oil, they have to add some solvents like hexane or acetone. And because it's not an ingredient, they don't put hexane or acetone in the ingredient list. What they want you to see is that this thing contains no cholesterol because the first product was a plant food, so they tell you it doesn't contain cholesterol. But it not having cholesterol is very, very minor compared to the amount of damage that vegetable oils have in your system. Okay, so don't be afraid of saturated fats. It's one of the best things that you can eat for your system and for a healthy life. Okay, now the fourth lie we've been told is that you can buy sugar-free or low-fat products. Now, speaking of a product, if you want to get a product that reads sugar-free, low-fat, it is majorly a processed food, right? And if we say that something is sugar-free, everybody knows that sugar is not good. But when we say that something is sugar-free or a product is sugar-free, they would have contained other artificial sweeteners like aspartame and other horrendous sweeteners that are very dangerous to your body. Okay, and if we say that something is low fat, then they would have removed the fat to make that thing low fat. Okay, and when you remove the fat from a food that has fat, that food no longer has its flavor. So you have to then add chemicals and flavor to make it sweet so that human beings can consume it. Okay. So because something reads sugar-free, because something reads that it's low fat doesn't make it healthy. All these things are marketing gimmicks that you have to be aware of so that you do not fall into the trap of thinking that you are consuming something that is healthy, whereas you are consuming something that is completely unhealthy for you. Okay. Now, the fifth lie we've been told is that, oh, you should just eat fewer calories, just cut down on your calories. But it's not about cutting down on your calories. It is about the hormonal effects and the damage that eating food that is depleted or food that is majorly just carbohydrates and, other processed foods, the damage it can do to you is very, very severe. Okay, so it's not just about you reducing your calories, but the damage that these foods have on your system, especially if you are already suffering from fatty liver disease and you want to reverse it. Okay, so you can imagine if you are eating food that is depleted, you are not taking in enough fat or protein, just carbohydrates and very minimal protein or fats. You are already nutritionally deficient because carbohydrates, even if it's a macronutrient, you have other macronutrients like fat and protein, and they are very essential, especially for your cell turnover, because your cells are not made up of carbohydrates or glucose. Your cells are made from fats, okay? And when you consume protein, then you actually give your body the ability to repair and turn over the cell. The only thing your body uses glucose for is energy. Okay. The only thing your body uses glucose for is energy, and it only uses glucose for energy when it doesn't have enough fat. Okay. So you can imagine if you are just eating carbohydrates, you are already nutritionally deficient, and then you even cut down on the carbohydrates that your body was getting. So now you are suffering because this is not sustainable for you. You are cranky and you are hungry as well. Okay. So that's why people lose weight and then they gain it back. This idea we have about calorie restriction is not a good idea. It's not a sustainable idea. It can help you lose weight, but you would figure out that if you do not have the right information and if you do not eat food that keeps you satiated and eat food that your body actually would use and that your body prefers and is the healthiest for you, you will just go back to square one. Okay. Now, the tragedy that we face when we talk about things like fatty liver reversal is that almost everyone is looking for a quick fix. In our generation and in our time today, everybody just wants to hear something, just give me that particular thing that I would take that would reverse my fatty liver and let me be done with it. But that's not true. We have a lot of misinformation, especially about our food, what we should eat, what we should avoid, and also things like fatty liver disease. We have very wrong information about how our body works. And when you are looking for a quick fix, and when you are also looking for when you're looking for a quick fix and you are also met with misinformation, it can lead you to have inconsistent action because you find out that what you are doing isn't really working for you. That's why many of you buy products and then you complain that these products don't work for you because you do not have the right information and you are looking for a quick fix. But that is not the way your body operates. Okay. Now, if you are listening to me, it means that you are different. And if you have gotten to this point in the video, we're 13 minutes in, it shows that you also don't have a short attention span. That means that you are actually looking for the right information. You are not looking for a quick fix. And that's why I try to explain things to you because it's important that you know why you should not do certain things, why you should not eat certain foods, and why you should eat the right foods and how your body operates so that you can actually stick to the right practice. Okay, so congratulations on making it to this point in this video. And I hope that the lessons that I share with you from time to time, I hope that you practice them so that you can actually get the results that you need. And remember that this topic that we discuss all the time about how to eat properly, it takes up 80% of your healing. The remaining 2 to 10% would be from external things like, your supplements that can help you, your herbs that can help you, or whatever products you want to get that can help you. The bulk of your healing in terms of healing hypertension, healing diabetes, healing a fatty liver comes from your diet. So it is very important that you get this right. Okay. Now, the sixth lie we have been told is that you should eat more fruits. We have this notion that fruit is healthy, and fruit is healthy. It contains a lot of antioxidants that your body would need. But if you are suffering from fatty liver disease, Eating more fruits wouldn't be the best for you because one of the reasons you are suffering from a fatty liver is because of high fructose, and only your liver can process fructose. Now, in small amounts, fructose is not dangerous to your health, but if you consume in large quantities, it would be dangerous for your health. So you can imagine somebody who has a fatty liver, your liver is already broken down, your liver is trying to recover, and you are consuming something that only your liver can process. You can imagine the workload that you would give to your liver. Okay, so not that fruit is bad, but if you are suffering from fatty liver disease and you want to reverse it, it would be good for you to take fruit seasonally. Take fruit as it comes in season and not past your usual limits of fruit. Okay, and also, when you want to consume fruit as whole, not as fruit juices. Okay, you getting a fruit juice is not the same thing as you getting as you eating whole fruits, because in fruit juices you have more concentrated forms of fructose and sucrose and glucose. So with the amount of fructose that is in a fruit, you then multiply it to get a fruit juice, and that's just very, very dangerous for your health. Okay, so if you want to reverse a fatty liver, minimize your fruits. Now, the seventh lie that we believe, and even our doctors still believe to this day, is that when you have a fatty liver, you should take a cholesterol lowering medication, because we have this idea that cholesterol equals fats, but cholesterol and fats are two different things. Cholesterol is a nutrient that your body uses for your brain. Cholesterol is one of the types of fats that your body uses to make up its cells. Cholesterol is one of the very important things that your liver produces because it is so important to your overall health. And cholesterol is one of those things that is very important to your spine as well, and your nerves. Your nerves are made of your nerves are made up from cholesterol. Okay. While while cholesterol cannot be used for energy, fat can be used for energy. Okay, so cholesterol and fat are two very different things. The amount of cholesterol, the amount of fat that surrounds your liver in a fatty liver disease patient is not cholesterol. Okay, and remember, I have said in my previous sessions that when you eat very little cholesterol, your liver has to produce enough cholesterol so that you can use it in your system. Okay, if not, you are going to be having brain issues and spine issues and nervous system issues, and you will deal with things like epilepsy because you are not taking in enough cholesterol. Okay, so you can imagine suffering from a liver that is fatty, and then you are taking a medication that is supposed to reduce your cholesterol. That medication, first off, that's statin. It would have to block off your coenzyme Q10, which is what your body uses for energy. Okay, and if it blocks off that CoQ10, that means that your brain, your heart, your liver would not be able to function properly because they are lacking energy that they need to operate. Okay, so you already have a fatty liver and you are making matters worse by reducing how much energy it gets from your system. Okay, and then you are then reducing your cholesterol, which means that if you have very little cholesterol, cholesterol is used for repair. And if your liver cannot release cholesterol because you are taking a cholesterol lowering medication, that means that with all of the toxins you are eating from your carbohydrates and your processed foods, and also the damage that stress, especially as a Nigerian, that stress is having on your system, your body would not be able to repair itself because it is lacking basic things that it needs to operate. Okay, so taking a statin for a fatty liver, it just shuts down your liver function. Fat and cholesterol are not the same thing. Okay, when you have a fatty liver, it is not cholesterol that surrounded your liver. Okay, it is not cholesterol that surrounds your liver. What surrounds your liver is fat that your body has stored because of the excess carbohydrates. What surrounds your liver is also triglycerides that your body has stored because of excess processed foods. So you don't have an issue with cholesterol when you have a fatty liver. Now, what is the solution to reverse a fatty liver? first thing you want to do is to minimize your carbohydrates and also minimize your fatty food. Minimize your carbohydrates and minimize your processed foods. Increase your protein and fats. These are very important so that you can go longer hours without food. Also increase your cruciferous vegetables because that would help you with your fiber and your gut health. And remember to also practice intermittent fasting because if we fast as adults, we are not supposed to have 3 meals a day. Okay. You should have just 2 meals a day. And if you can, just 1 meal a day. That would give your body time to make use of that excess that it has stored. Okay, the reason we have diabetic patients, the reason we have insulin resistance is because we don't give our body time to make use of its storage. We are just consuming, and your body is just doing its best to store until it gets to the point where it cannot store any longer. And boom, you'll be diagnosed with diabetes, you'll be diagnosed with insulin resistance, and you will be diagnosed with a fatty liver. Okay. Now, I also want to remind you that if you would like to go a step further in knowing what exactly you should eat and in the quantity you should eat it, then you should get my How to Eat as a Human Being ebook. I have said that I would never develop another meal plan again because we don't need to eat differently for different types of diseases. There is no diet for hypertension, no diet for diabetes. It is just a proper human way of eating. If you eat the way a human being is supposed to eat, then you wouldn't have all these metabolic issues and all of these lifestyle diseases. Okay, so you can get my ebook so that you know exactly what to eat and what you can avoid. Okay, animals intuitively know exactly what to eat. Animals are not confused on what to eat, except to have a pet animal or you overfeed that pet animal. That's the only time that animal would be obese. But regularly, you don't see obese animals or overweight animals because intuitively they know what to eat and they stick to what to eat. It is only the human species that eats outside of what is natural and healthy for them. And that's why we are suffering from so many things and we require so many pills. But even with the pills, we don't still get better. Okay. And remember, I said 8% of your healing comes from your diet. So if you can really, really get this right and practice the right information, like I share with you, and use the information in this ebook to know how a proper human being eats, and also to develop a plan that works for you. Instead of me giving you a meal plan and telling you to stick with it, you would look at your ingredients and choose, what am I going to eat for lunch and dinner today? What do I have at home? Instead of trying to fit into a meal plan that someone has designed for you. Okay, you would then be able to create your own meal plan around your schedule, okay, and around the ingredients that you have easily accessible to you. Okay, so we've come to the end of this video. Thank you so much for listening, and of course, if you have any questions, just let me know in the comment section, or you can reach out to me. My email address and my number will be placed in the description box. Okay, so have a wonderful rest of the day. I will speak to you at a later time. Bye.